Hello, everybody, or the one person that's watching. Um, so, I just bought this, but this is not an update to my EV scooter dragster build. It's just something a bit unexpected, really. I just found this on eBay, and it was about half the price it should have been. I realised that was for good reason because when I actually bought it, it was from a company that I think they buy excess stock or something. It came without a front wheel, and the crank arm had sheared thread and was useless. So anyway, after some debate with the seller, I got a discount. I bought it because it looked nuts and like a bit of fun, and I thought I needed a bit of a distraction and a new project. Weather wasn't very good. It was pretty bad. So I thought, okay, I'll be indoors. This is small enough to kind of scoot around the house and have fun with and muck about with. I've already made some changes to it. So I've changed the gearing. I've changed the crank. I've got this really cool, I think really cool anyway, equivalent of a flight crank. So it's a Box 5 crank made by a company called Box, who make BMX parts. If you're a BMXer, I'll be telling you the obvious now. And I put a 50 tooth chainring, which might sound big, but this thing came with I think 63 or 64 inch chainring, which was bigger than the wheels. It was insane. And I found to get going from a standing start, it almost felt like it was stalling. The gearing was odd. However, I haven't ridden it outside. I want gearing probably similar to a BMX. I've got I think a 10. I think that's like a 10 tooth, and this is 50. So I'm hoping. I haven't done the maths, but I'm hoping it's going to be something like a BMX. So snappy to get off. You can get off and get started quickly and quite smoothly, and then no real speed. Don't really care. Because this isn't for land speed records. Obviously, it's for commuting or a bit of fun, and just to take on the country lanes and just pedal about and have fun. So anyway, I've changed the crank. It came with some really horrible pedals, so I put these sort of Shimano DX alike, and if you're old enough, in the 80s Shimano brought out these amazing pedals called DX, which were like a staple for all BMX riders back then, and everyone's copied them since. Now this bike, when it first came out, the first iteration of it before they made some adjustments, came with pedals just like this, polycarbonate DX style pedals, and then they changed it over for these really horrible generic ones with, I'll show you actually, this is what it came with on the second iteration. Not these death traps, which are really cool, but these, it's like, gremmy. So I had to get rid of those. So I changed them over, which is good. And I changed the crank. The crank was actually a 110, which was so small that when you pedalled it, it felt like you were pitching step. Not really a look I want to cultivate for myself, so I thought, no. So I put 135mm crank arms on there, which is nice. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Get that in focus. Yeah, and this box crank just feels really solid, and it's like cold forged aluminium. And yeah, but what I found was, in changing the gearing, the angle of this chain used to be much steeper. So this mudguard sort of came out and then cut in and came around it, but the cutout was much too low, and it was sort of chafing this. So I spent hours cutting this away to make it work. But another thing I want to address on this is it only comes with a coaster brake, where you pedal back to brake the bike, and it's a really crude thing. And I think because this has got such a tight wheelbase, it's such a short wheelbase, and a very steep head angle up on the head angle, and a very long stem, your weight is very far forward. And so the problem with it is, especially when you want to sort of stand stationary or balance, or you're trying to turn very tightly, this has got an incredibly quick steering setup because you've got a steep head angle and a short wheelbase with small wheels. So it's very snappy steering. It's very unforgiving, and you can flip the bars 90 degrees and go, head over backside very easily. So what you don't want is to be balancing and then hit the back brake and it engage hard, and you bounce off the back brake and have your weight thrown forward, which is already forward. So my experience just pottering around the flat where I live is that it doesn't feel too confidence inspiring. I know it's not a bike, but actually once you put gears and you put pedals on the thing, it is a bike, and you've got similar dynamics at play. So anyway, so what I'm determined to do is get disc brakes, hopefully all round. So I've bought a Chinese bike, a kiddie bike, because it's only 12-inch wheels, but some of these things are spec'd pretty crazily. This thing comes with disc brakes front and rear. It's got the same forged 3-spoke style aluminium wheels, which is great, but they're fully decked out with disc brakes, and the forks are a similar profile, but they're hollow formed, seemingly cold pressed aluminium, which is impressive for like a kiddie's bike. So if I buy that, I'll cannibalize it. I'll get the front forks, which look with the disc brake fit, attachment already on there, and the brakes, and I can get the disc brake on the back and get rid of that. What's it called? My mind's gone blank. Oh yeah, coaster brake or back pedal brake. I'm not sure what they call it. We used to call it coaster brake in the 80s, but that's when there were dinosaurs and the world was flat, so I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. So this is what it looks like at the back, and this is the problem I envisage with this. If I can get the phone in there, the camera in there, yeah. You can see that you've got the coaster brake arm here, and the frame is, the back is divoted and then bent in, or cut and bent in, so it can mate up with the coaster brake and create, or the coaster arm rather, and create that stop. And one of the problems is you get quite a bit of slack between the engagements, so the clutch is really, you get a lot of slack on there, and that isn't great for stability when you're trying to balance or corner and you're at low speed. So I want to be able to pedal back, because sometimes I find on my other bikes, if I'm standing stationary or balancing, you can kind of shift your weight pedaling back without risk of stalling on the brake, and it's easier to balance. I just think you could handle this thing with a lot more finesse if I'd done that coaster brake. I can see what I've done. It makes it very low maintenance, if not maintenance free, and it keeps this beautiful cableless aesthetic. But they could have just channeled the cables. Anyway, that's what I want to do. I think I've probably got my work cut out for me, but hey, I'm up for the challenge. This thing was cheap, so spend a bit of money, have some fun. I changed the bars a little bit, so I put these natty little anodized blue bar ends and these sort of cow horn extensions. I think that will help the ergonomics when you're trying to get started, particularly because the brakes are quite high. Here is the original front chainring. It is massive. Look at that. It's 60 odd teeth. I think it's 64. And it's got this interesting slogan on there. This is not a bike, or something, warning. Let's have a see what it says. It says, look, warning. This is not a bike. Well, you've got gears on it, or you've got pedals on it. It may not have a seat, but this ain't no scooter, I wish my phone would focus. Warning, this is not a bike. Yeah, I beg to differ. I think actually it is a bike now. So maybe some brakes would be great. And here's the bars I want to put on it. So what I want to do is I'll change the forks, and then I'll have to change this. There's a lot of flex in this. I mean, it's pretty solid. It's solid aluminium there, and then I think it's a bit hollow. It's hollow when it gets to about here, but about this far up, it's solid. This is quite an interesting thing where you can unscrew this and it folds down and clips onto the back, and you can just pick it up, and it's quite portable. I'm going to get a collapsible stem extender there. It's going to be an AliExpress jobby. But it looks good quality, the one I'm thinking of, and it's not telescopic. It's about 40 centimeters high, but I'm going to get some riser bars on there. I'll show them in a minute, and give it more of a BMX feel. I might see if I can work out putting a stem on there as well. But the one I'm thinking of, it's interesting. It's advertised as a foldable stem extender, but for BMX. And when you look at the spec, it's got this double wall aluminium, quite heavy duty kind of look to it. So I think it should be sturdy enough. And as I say, because I've got a good 20 centimeter rise on the bar, I can reduce this length, because there's a lot of flex in this, and because it's aluminium, over time it will fatigue. It has a very limited elasticity, and when you're bending it like that and flexing it, generally aluminium tends to fail eventually. So I'm going to address that, and these are the bars I've got for it. These really cool Swifty bars, and they're the same kind of material. So you've got forged 6061 aluminium, not forged, just smashed them up. TIG welded aluminium with that lovely matte black finish, but it's quite a nice little shape riser bar. So I've measured it. It's about 20 centimeters. So it should look. These will be on there. This kind of style, If I can zoom out, so it looks something like that. So it should be fun. Anyway, I think I'll end it there. Oh, actually, these are the original cranks. Tiny little one 110 crank arm. Titchy little pixie thing. It's good for ground clearance, but you're effectively pigeon stepping like some kind of ballerina on it, and I didn't like that. And yeah, it didn't feel too stable either. So we'll see. The whole thing's an experiment. As I say, it's not my EV build. It's just a bit of quirky fun. But I'll see what I can do before I give up on this. Hopefully I'll be able to get disc brakes all around and just have a bit of fun with it and work out how to make it foldable. The folding mechanism is going to be a bit different. We'll see how we can resolve that and still keep it portable. But yeah. Anyway, I'll end it there. I've been going on for 10 minutes. As you can probably see, this wasn't in any way planned. Hopefully it made some kind of sense. It was of interest. I won't say I'll see you again because I'm looking at a phone. I can't see you. But hopefully you'll see this and you'll see the next things I upload and they might be of some interest. Bye.